Jai Hind to all. Myself Pancham Singh. I am going to deliver first lecture on operating system, and the subject code is BCS 401. So in this lecture, first I will discuss about introduction part, what is the operating system and what operating system will do. And second point is computer system organization, how computer system are organized in a systematic way, and they are cooperating to each other for doing the work with the OS. Third point is computer system architecture, what are the architecture of computer system, how they are integrated with each other, and how they are supporting to do the operation by using the OS. Third point is operating system structure, so how operating system is divided into different structures, what are the operations you will perform by the operating system. Operating system can perform various operations like process management, memory management, input output management, device management, networking and security. So these are the operations generally you can perform in the OS. What are the process management? In process management, generally you will manage the different types of processes. The processes maybe are in different states, like process in the ready state, a process may in the active state, process may in the waiting state, and process may in the terminated state. So the structure of the processes, where processes are arrived and they are giving the exact position of that particular process. What are the memory management? How operating system will manage the memory in terms of the primary memory, in terms of the secondary memory. So operating system will manage the memory, whatever you are increasing or decreasing the memory, what are the size of the memory through which we are going to save your file in the different locations. So operating system will manage the memory. What are the storage management? What are the storage management? In storage management, operating system will manage the storage. So what type of storage you are using, like you can use the primary storage or secondary storage. So operating system will manage different types of storage management. Now the next point is the protection and security. So if you are going to discuss about the protection, so how operating system will protecting your files, your data in your system from various external and internal intrusions. So operating system will protecting your files by different internal as well as external protection, like you can say in terms of the viruses, in terms of the worms, in terms of the malware that will occur in your system, and they can destroy your files, they can block your folder or drive. So operating system will protect your system by using the protection and security. Now next point is the kernel data structure. So basically operating system is divided into two different parts, macro kernel and mini kernel. So kernel is the center part of the OS, where operating system will manage the all the information which are going to govern by the OS. That can be decision is taken by the kernel. So kernel is the center part of the OS. What are the computer environment? So in computing environment, where different environment you are going to create in terms of the external support, internal support, communication. So we are going to create different types of environment by using the OS. So operating system will manages all types of environment that are going to happen in your system. Open source operating system. So operating system generally may be open source, which are available in your internet, and you can just download that operating system and do the work. So operating system can perform various operations by using the open source environment. So what is an operating system? If you are going to discuss about what is OS, a program that acts as an intermediary between user and the computer, that is called the OS. So operating system is an intermediate platform through which we are going to do the operation. So it will sit between the user and the hardware. So operating system is sit between the user and hardware, and it will provide the interface between the user by taking the requirement of the user to check the hardware, and if hardware requirement is going to fulfill, then operating system will give the permission to access the information. So operating system goal, execute user program and make solving user problem easier. So our target is to solve the user problem efficiently. So operating system will support to solve the user problem efficiently. Now next point is make the computer system convenient to use. So operating system will help to make the system convenient through which user can perform various operations. Next point is use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. So how operating system will use the hardware in efficient manner? So operating system will manages all the things in terms of the process management, memory management, IO management, device management, security. So all things are managed by the OS. So operating system will manages hardware through which we can do the operation. Now what operating system structure? So if we are going to discuss about the operating system structure, so definitely we are going to discuss about the hardware as well as the software. So computer system can be divided into 4 components. Though the first component is the hardware. So hardware provides basic computing resources. So if you are going to discuss about the hardware, so hardware will provide the basic computing resources. There are some basic hardware are CPU, memory, input output devices. So these are the hardware part that provide the basic computing resources to the OS. What is the OS? So operating system control and coordinate use of the hardware among various application and users. So operating system will manages all the things that can be that requests are sent by the users, and so operating system will manage and allocate the resources which are needed by the user. Now next point is the application program. So what is the application program? Application program define the way in which the system resources are used to solve the computing problems of the users. So you can say application define the way in which the system resources are used to solve the computing problem of the user. So this is the important point. So what are the application programs are there? So there are different application programs like word processor, compilers, web browsers, web browsers, database system and video games. So these are the application programs. What is the user? So in terms of the user, so user is a people. User can be a machine or other computing devices. So user can be vary accordingly as per the requirement. So user, if you are going to discuss about the what is the user, so first user is the people, and if you are going to a broad level, then a machine is behave as a user, and other computers is also behave as a user. So user can change according to the need. So this is the block diagram of the operating system. So 4 components of the computer systems. So user is the sit at the top. So these are the users. So there are n number of users are at the top level. So if you are going to middle layer, so we are going to discuss about the application program. So compiler, assembler, text editor, database, these are the application programs. So what is the OS? So operating system is sit in between the user and the hardware. So these are the system programs and application programs. So some application program that is governed by the user side. And what is the operating system? So operating system basically is a system program. So it will provide the interface between the user and the hardware. So it is an intermediate part between the user and the hardware. So operating system will manage all the things. So what operating system do basically? So operating system depend on the point of the view. Depend upon the point of the view. Users want convenient, ease of use and good performance. So don't care about the resource utilization. So operating system will manages all the things as per the requirement. So if you are going to discuss about the don't care about the resource utilization, mainframe or mini computers must keep all the user happy. Workstation have dedicated resources but frequently use shared resources from server. So these are the operating system will manage all the things according to the user requirement, like ease of the use, good performance. So operating system will through which we can easily access the information, access the data, and do the performance, complete the task easily. So these are the things managed by the OS. So next point is operating system definition. So if you are going to discuss about operating system definition, so operating system is behave as a resource allocator. So why it is resource allocator? Because operating system is allocating all different types of resources as per the requirement of the users. So manages all resources, decides between conflicting requests for efficient and fair resource use. So operating system is going to allocate a resource, and that resource is available to free, then operating system will allocate that particular resource. So it can depend upon the availability of that particular resource on which operating system will allocate that resources. Operating system is a control program. So operating system will manage all the programs in a controlled manner. So control execution of program to prevent error and improper use of computers. So these are the definition of the OS. Now, what is the operating system definition? So if you are going to discuss about operating system definition, so the operating system is sit between the user and the hardware, and everything a vendor ship when you order an operating system is a good approximation. It means that if you are going to demand an operating system, so which type of quotation, which type of demand you are putting at the side of the vendor. So as per the requirement, like you can use the server based operating system, you can use desktop PC and network based PC. So as per the demand, as per the security, so operating system is varies as per the requirement. So different operating system you can take as per the requirement, as per the demand. Now the one program running at all time on the computer, that is called the kernel. So what is the kernel? Kernel is not sitting, stopping to do the operation. So all time if you are going to run the things, that is called the kernel. So kernel is all time running in the system, and kernel is a central part of the OS. So kernel is always supporting and allocating and deallocating resources as per the requirement. Now computer startup. So bootstrap program is a loaded at power up or reboot, typically stored in the ROM or EROM. So this type of bootstrap program are booting generally perform at the starting of the OS. So if you are going to start the operating system, so your system will be boot first, then your program will be stored, and after that you will open the file, you can send the request as per the requirement. So this it can be performed. So what is the computer system organization? So computer system organization is dividing into different components. So computer system operations, if you are going to discuss about computer system operations, so one or more CPU devices controller connect through common bus providing access to shared memory, concurrent execution of CPU and devices computing for the memory cycle. So these are the devices. The operating system is manage all devices in efficient manner. So CPU is here. It can control the disk controller, USB controller, graphic adapter and memory. So if this controller is performing any task, it can be managed by the CPU. CPU will perform the task which are given by the disk controller. Similarly, the task is performed by the USB controller, that is given by the user, and similarly graphics adapter. So if you are going to do any types of graphic adapter, so if that operation is performed by the user, and what memory is required by that operation. So what type of operation you are doing, so what type of memory is basically required. So as per the memory requirement, the operation is going to perform by the different controllers. So disk controller is performing different tasks, USB controller is performing different tasks, and last one is graphics adapter that performing the different tasks. So all task is performed by the operating system, and user are just giving the input as per the requirement. So these are the requirements and given by the user, and what is the memory is needed to running that particular program, or you can say what are the memories required by the disk controller, USB controller and graphic adapter for executing that particular program. Computer system operations. So what type of operation you can generally perform by the operating system. So operating system perform various operation in the system, like process management, memory management, IO management and security. So these type of operation is performed by the OS. So operation can be performed by the OS without input output devices. So first you will give the input output devices, that request will be go to the OS side. So operating system will listen that request, and after that that request will be granted by the OS, then your request will be executed. So a request can be input by the user, and as per the hardware requirement, what is the hardware requirement of the user? See, if the hardware requirement is going to fulfill, then operating system will allocate that particular resource, and the user can access that resource, or user can run that program at the same time. So these type of things are going to happen in the system, but operating system is manages all the things through which you can do the operation. So each device controller has a local buffer. Every device has a local buffer or local cache, so in which your request is seated there. As CPU moves data from to main memory to from the local buffer, so your data is basically in the local buffer, and if you're going to run that particular program, your data will come to the main memory, and when your program will come to the main memory, then your program will be executed. So without coming that program into the main memory, your program will not executed. So what is the input output? Input output operation can be performed by the local buffer, and interrupt handler, they are taking the responsibility for the input output operation. So common functions of the interrupt. So interrupt is performing different function like pooling, vector interrupts. So these are the functions that can be performed by the OS. Okay. So if you are going to discuss about the common function of the interrupt, so interrupt transfer control to the interrupt service routine, generally through the interrupt vector. So interrupt vector, by the interrupt vector, you are going to perform different services in the service routine by the interrupt vector. So now interrupt architecture must save the address of the interrupt instructions. So what is the trap and interrupt? So if you are going to discuss about trap is a software generated error, and what is the interrupt? Interrupt is the hardware generated errors. So these are the two different types of interrupt, that is trap as well as interrupt. This is the diagram. You can see clearly how this diagram is explaining. CPU is performing the operation, that is the CPU here, and input output devices here. User process executing. So these are the user process executing. And if the CPU is in the idle state, the line is the straight line. If CPU is performing the operation, then your line is going to up and down. So you are getting the operation like input request, operating system is getting input request, and automatically the line is going to down, and your operation is going to perform in the form of the transfer done. And again you are getting the request, then your operation is again performed. So if operating system is not getting any request, then the line is showing by the straight line, that is idle line. And but if operating system is going to get the request, then your line is automatically going to turn into the different shape, and you are starting doing the operation. So if the operation perform, or you can say operation is completed, then automatically is go to in the idle state. So this is the interrupt timeline through which the operation is performed. What is the input output structure? So in input output structure basically performed by the OS. So our operating system is perform the input output structure. So wait instruction idle the CPU until the next step. So if one instruction is running, so second will wait until unless first one is complete. If second is complete, then you move for the third one. So the process is going to execute one by one on the basis of the request. Loop, wait loop means if a resource is allocated to one process and that resource is not free, then you will wait for that particular resource until unless that resource will be free. So these are the cyclic process will happen between the process as well as resource that can be done by the OS. So in the next point, that is the system call. So what is the system call? System call basically request to the OS to allow user to wait for input output completion. So if you are going to request any type of resource, so your request should not be granted until unless that can be previous request cannot be released. So the resource is going to release, then next process can access that particular resource and then they can execute. So request to the OS to allow user to wait for input output completion. So if first input output will complete, then second input output will going to start. It means that in between, if one is running, second will not interrupt that particular resource or particular operations. Now device status table. So in device status table, basically we are checking the device status, where which type of devices is available and which type of devices are used by the operating system. So these are the device status table, where you can getting the detailed information about the devices, either the device is free or used. And the last one I am going to discuss about the storage definition and notation. So if we are going to discuss about the storage, so why storage is required by the OS. So operating system, whatever is going to do the operation, so definitely it require the memory. So memory is the major components, or you can say base component, where your request will be granted without the hardware checking. So without the hardware checking, nothing is going to perform. So hardware requirement is must fulfilled by the user. If user requesting 2 KB or 3 KB memory size, and the size of memory is not available, then your request will not granted, or operating system will not give the permission to execute that particular program. So here is the storage definition, where storage are divided into, like in the form of the, what is 1 kilobyte. So 1 kilobyte is equal, it can be written in the form of KB, and this is equals to 1024 bytes. And what about the megabyte? Megabyte is written in short form, that is MB, and it is the memory where 1024 into 1024, or you can say 1024 square bytes. Now similarly gigabyte, that is written in the shorter symbol, that is GB, and 1024 power 3 bytes. Terabyte, similarly 1024 power 4 bytes, and similarly petabytes memory size, that is a bigger size, and it can be written in the form of 1024 power 5 bytes. So these are the memory size where you are going to use in the hardware. So if you are going to discuss about the smallest memory size, that is register. Register is storing the smallest value, and that can be performed by the required by the operating system. So thank you.